All right, welcome in, everyone. We're diving deep today into something I bet a lot of you have had some struggles with at some point. We're talking phrasal verbs.
Oh, yeah. Those tricky little things.
Exactly. You guys sent in this great episode called The Secret Life of Phrasal Verbs and How to Finally Stop Hating Them. And
Oh.
I love that title, by the way.
It's very relatable.
It really is. And our mission today is, well, it's kind of threefold. We want to look at why these verb preposition combos even exist. Like, where did they come from?
Yeah, the history is actually fascinating
It really is. And then we'll try to break down how to actually understand them, how to decode them when you see them.
because just memorizing a giant list isn't really practical.
Not at all. But the goal, the ultimate goal here is to help all of you listening feel more confident when you use them.
Right, to go from feeling like, phrasal verbs to, okay, I got this.
Exactly. So, to kick things off, let's get back to basics. Why do phrasal verbs even exist? Our source points to the history of English itself. Apparently, about 1,000 years ago, Old Norse and Old English were doing this kind of mashup, mixing together.
A real linguistic blend. And during this time, verbs started getting all cozy with prepositions, and bam, new meanings were born.
Like look up or get by, those combinations wouldn't exist without that historical mixing.
And they might seem complex, these pairings, but there's a real argument for their efficiency, too. Like, if you think about it, turn down, it means the same as reject.
Oh, that's a great example. So much shorter, so much snappier.
It is, isn't it? Almost like a shortcut.
And don't forget their flexibility. One little phrasal verb can have a whole bunch of different meanings depending on how it's used.
Oh, absolutely. Think about takeoff. You could be talking about a plane going up or someone leaving quickly or even just removing a jacket.
Exactly. It's like they have these secret identities.
And honestly, in everyday speech, particularly when we're being casual, phrasal verbs are just everywhere. They sound so much more natural than their formal counterparts.
Right. Like, I'm much more likely to say, turn off the lights than extinguish the illumination.
Soft chuckle. That would sound a bit strange, wouldn't it?
It totally would. And you know what's funny? It seems like even Shakespeare might have found those kinds of super formal constructions a bit much.
Really?
Yeah, there's this line in Hamlet that some scholars think is actually making fun of those over-the-top verb choices. So even back then, people were thinking about how to use verbs effectively.
That's really interesting. And it makes you think, doesn't it? Like, how often have we avoided using a phrasal verb because we weren't totally sure if we were using it correctly?
All the time. But to help us out, our source breaks down phrasal verbs into four main types. And once you get these categories, it can really unlock a lot of their mystery. So first up, the easiest. Literal phrasal verbs. Their meaning is exactly what it sounds like, just the two words put together.
So look up, literally meaning to look upwards, like look up. There's a hot air balloon. No hidden meaning there.
Exactly. But then things get a bit trickier. We move on to idiomatic phrasal verbs, where the meaning isn't so obvious just from the individual words.
Like look up can also mean to search for information. I need to look up that recipe online. Nothing to do with your eyes literally moving upwards.
Right, totally different meaning. Then we have separable phrasal verbs, which means you have some choices. The object of the verb can either go between the verb and preposition or after the preposition.
So you can turn off the radio or turn the radio off. Both are fine.
But here's a super important point. When the object is a pronoun, like it or them, it must go in the middle. So you would say turn it off, but turn off it sounds just wrong.
Yeah, that's a really good point to remember. And finally, we have the inseparable phrasal verbs, which means those two words are a package deal. They always stay together.
Like, you can run into an old friend, but you wouldn't say run an old friend into.
Unless you literally bumped into them with your car.
Exactly. Okay, so we've got those four categories. But now you might be thinking, great, more things to memorize. But don't worry, there's a shortcut. Our source says paying attention to context clues can be a huge help.
It's true. Our brains are amazing at figuring things out. And with phrasal verbs, the preposition itself can often give you a hint about the meaning.
So certain prepositions tend to suggest particular types of meanings. For example, up often has this sense of completion or increase.
Oh, like eat up your dinner or fill up the gas tank.
Exactly. Off often implies disconnection or stopping. Think about turn off the TV or cut off the engine.
And out frequently indicates revealing something or distributing something, like find out the truth or hand out flyers.
Those are great examples. So the preposition itself can be a really useful starting point for understanding the meaning.
And don't forget about nonverbal clues. Body language can sometimes tell you more than the words themselves.
Oh, that's so true. Imagine someone saying calm down, but with a super stressed expression and like waving their arms around. The body language tells you a lot about what they really mean.
Absolutely. Context is everything. And here's a little challenge for you from our source. Next time you hear a phrasal verb, before you go running to the dictionary, try to guess what it means based on the situation.
You might be surprised how often you can figure it out on your own.
It's a much more engaging way to learn. Okay, now let's get practical. Our source gives us 10 super common phrasal verbs that are worth mastering. It'll really help you sound more natural when you speak.
So number one, we have bring up, which means to introduce a topic like, don't bring up politics at dinner, please.
A classic. Number 2 is get over, to recover from something. I just can't seem to get over this cold.
Ugh, I feel that. Number 3 is end up, meaning to do something or be somewhere that wasn't the original plan. We ended up watching a movie instead of going out.
Happens all the time. Number 4 is put off, meaning to delay or postpone something. I really need to stop putting off that assignment.
Number 5, run out of, meaning to have none left of something. Oh no, we ran out of coffee. That's always a tragedy in my house.
Mine too. Number 6 is take after, meaning to resemble a family member. He totally takes after his dad, both in looks and personality.
Number 7, turn out, meaning to result in a particular way. The cake actually turned out pretty good, even though I burned the first batch.
Chuckle. We've all been there. Number 8 is workout, which can mean to exercise or for a plan to be successful.
Right, so I'm going to go work out later versus I hope this new strategy works out.
Exactly. Context is key. Number 9 is give up, meaning to stop trying. Don't give up on your dreams.
And last but not least, number 10, hang out, meaning to spend time casually with someone. Want to hang out this weekend?
There you go. 10 essential phrasal verbs that you're probably already familiar with.
Our source makes a really cool comparison. They say phrasal verbs are like the emojis of the English language.
That's a great way to think about it. They're small, expressive, and you find them everywhere.
Okay, ready for a little quiz to test your phrasal verb knowledge? We'll do a quick round of scenarios inspired by our source.
Bring it on.
All right, scenario 1. Your friend cancels plans last minute. They...
Bail on you.
Exactly. Scenario 2. You're struggling with a math problem, but finally, you.
Figure it out.
Yes. And last one. Your phone suddenly dies.
Oh, ran out of juice.
You got it. Okay, bonus round. What's a phrasal verb that means the same as tolerate?
To tolerate something. Oh, put up with it.
Nailed it. So as we wrap up our deep dive into the wild world of phrasal verbs, the key takeaway is this. They're a vibrant, essential part of the English language, and understanding them can make your communication so much richer and more nuanced.
Absolutely. Don't be afraid of them. Embrace the challenge, pay attention to context, and have fun with them.
For your listener challenge this week, we've got a 3-part mission for you. It's all about actively engaging with phrasal verbs. First, spot and record at least 5 different phrasal verbs you hear out in the wild. Could be on TV, in a podcast, in a conversation, anything goes.
Then, before you look them up, try to guess what they mean based on the context. See if you can figure it out.
And finally, use at least one phrasal verb in a conversation this week. Even something simple like, I'll look into that, or let's catch up soon. The more you use them, the more natural they'll become.
And remember, language is constantly evolving. Ralph Waldo Emerson said it beautifully. Language is a city to the building of which every human being brought a stone. Phrasal verbs are some of those interesting, sometimes quirky stones that make the language so unique.
So true. So the next time you run into a phrasal verb, don't let it trip you up. You've got the tools to figure it out and maybe even bring it up in your own conversations. Thanks for diving in with us.